we need to look inwards. How do you pay a policeman pittance and expect him to do so much? How do you pay the police in Jigawa the same salary you pay a policeman in Borno, where there are so many challenges? The police in Cross River and then the police in Lagos, you pay the same salary. We need to rethink how we remunerate our people, the motivation. Policing is environment determined. The environment determines kind of problems in that area and the type of policing activities to be done in that area. Those are the areas we should look at. If you create state police and the same policemen you have right now, the same Nigerians you have right now will still be in those police forces in all the various states as the case may be. If you don't properly motivate them, don't properly train them, you don't properly orient them, don't properly give them the right attitude to work, to themselves, to the system, if you don't imbue loyalty and patriotism, we're just recycling the same problem over and over again. So I think restructuring should be based on attitude, both on the side of the government, on the side of the people who own the police, and then the police themselves.
Okay, so let me ask you this question. Would you say that the Nigeria police force is effective?
By and large, the police is effective as can be. There's no perfect system. In fact, there's no perfect system anywhere in the world. There's no perfect police force anywhere in the world. Every society gets the type of police it asks for, it deserves.
Okay, you just said something here.
It is the input you give to the police.
You said something.
That will give you the outputs of the service.
Okay. You said policing is determined by the environment. And you know that we all know that there are different environments in different locations of the country. So, but you're saying that we cannot say state policing is the way to go because there will still be the same policemen that are there. It will still be the same equipment. So what they basically need is reorientation. But you just said policing is determined by the environment. So shouldn't that be a criteria to go about restructuring the police?
There are pros with respect to state policing. Right now, the current police system we are working works mostly with members of the public. That's what we do, community policing. We have neighborhood groups, vigilante groups, informal police actors who are working hand in hand with the Nigeria police. For police to be effective, it needs to get intelligence from the community. A person closest to a problem best understands the solution. We all agree. But the police we have right now takes a lot of inputs. And if you take a state like Anambra, 5,000 policemen, over 5 million people, ratio is like 1 to 1,000. Most of the police personnel in Anambra State are indigenous of Anambra State. Most of them are Igbo-speaking Nigerians. You may have the top hierarchy being manned by those outside of that state. So the argument doesn't really hit so much that you have state police, that everybody in that state, the police force will be indigenous. You could still get an outsider, a professional who knows what to do, who is not from that state, to man the state. When you set up a police force or any organization, you want service. And we should not emphasize mediocrity. Pick somebody because he's from this place to man a place, to man a position, and it doesn't give you quality service. Let's go for the best. The current system can still be improved upon. That's what we're talking about, reform, about rebranding. Give the police the wherewithal to perform. Outside of this country, police perform very well because the environment there is conducive. People are more responsive. They give information. There are technologies that aid policing. The way you police a place in Abuja called Gwagwa is different from the way you police a place in Metama. Because those who live in Metama are more enlightened. Those who live in Metama have so much money compared to those who live in Gwagwa. So the environment determines the kind of input, the kind of service you give to people. Police solves problems. Every problem is done by the environment. As the problems come, the police respond to such problems. That's why I insist, and it is correct, that the environment determines the type of police it gets.
Mr. Akpoibo, the issue of reforms in the police, I mean, almost every other Inspector General of Police that comes in talks about reforms. And it looks as if as he leaves office, The next one comes, talks about reform. So that the reforms that were started by the other Inspector General of Police appear, please mark the word, appear to be put on the shelf. And then we start a new set of reforms. Is it possible to have a continuation of reforms so that we don't keep repeating ourselves back and forth, even as we continue to talk restructuring?
Well, the reforms the various IGs have spoken about, I don't think they are distinct from each other. My colleague has just spoken about the remuneration. I have also spoken about equipping the police and making them much more functional and effective and efficient. That's an aspect of reform. Of course, you could call it other names, different coloration, but they mean the same thing. All we are saying is that you don't need to fragment the police before you can make it functional. Like we have said here, that the police today, they are intelligence-driven. Look at the chap who murdered an 8-year-old girl in River State and absconded. The local police were not able to pick him up immediately. But that suspect was picked up somewhere in Plateau State. That is the essence of intelligence-based policing. That is exactly what the police is embarking upon today. It's just that this, society is just leaving the duty of policing in the hands of the police. Nobody really wants to get committed. If every one of us, policing is every man's business. It's everyone's business because you don't know the next victim. The moment all of us get involved, I am sure we'll do better. Okay, and to argue that the only remedy to crime is to establish a state police is a kind of oversimplistic approach, because crime is very dynamic, very fluid. We have what we call cross-border crime now. We have other, kinds of kidnapping, like you mentioned earlier. These are cross-border crimes, armed robbery and all that, terrorism and all that. They have gone beyond the realm of local domain to almost international domain. So creating a state police in itself, I am not opposed to creating state police because it's a true feature of true federalism. But before you do that, of course, you have to talk about the Constitution. You have to tinker with the Constitution because it's under the exclusive list. I mean, you have to talk about importation of arms and ammunition. The states are not empowered to do that. So you must create the framework before you can embark on it. Or sometimes in Nigeria, we just think about, we embark on a particular mission without working out the workability of that particular mission before we embark on it. And that's why we have failures most of the time. If we're talking about state police, fine. State police are not opposed because we are operating a federal system of government. But then you must create the framework that will enable it to work. And then the apparatus that will enable the state police to work must be put in place. Don't forget, policing is an expensive venture. We have so many states today that cannot even pay salaries. Okay. I'm sure you know that.
Okay. I was going to ask you.
The variables you must put into consideration before you embark on creating state police.
Tanwa is itching to go, but I was going to ask you a question about we're more like removing the police force from the exclusive list. So let the police be independent and answerable only to the lawmakers, not to the executive. Would that make a difference? But you would answer to that when we come back from this break.